Welcome to TPMVids.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I gotta control these things. Alright, hey everyone. So today we're gonna be reacting to another TPMVids video, and this is called Evolution of Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese's character history. So enjoy, and I really love Chuck E. Cheese, and I'm a fan. So enjoy this reaction. Let's watch this.
If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon to be notified when we upload a new video. The face of the Chuck E. Cheese's restaurants is Chuck E. Cheese himself.
Of course.
Whose full name is actually Charles Entertainment Cheeses. He's
never
been
heard of
around
that
since
name,
the company was founded in 1977, and you could probably consider him in some ways an American entertainment icon. When you visit Chuck E. Cheese's, you're bound to see Chuck walking around, interacting with everyone in the restaurant. Now, next to the animatronics, meeting Chuck E. Cheese has become one of the staples of visiting the restaurants. Now, the Chuck E. Cheese restaurants themselves have a long history, and with the natural evolution of time, the Chuck E. Cheese character has gone through some changes. Specifically in this video, we'll be looking at the character's changes through the mascot walk-around character, as well as the looks used for marketing purposes. So today, we're going to be taking a look at the evolution of the Chuck E. Cheese character. The development stages. So we'll start right at the beginning in about 1974. During the development of the restaurant, its founder, Nolan Bushnell, also co-founder of Atari, was at the IAAPA Expo, which is the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions Expo. There, he saw what he thought was a generic coyote costume. He ordered it and began designing the restaurant around this costume, calling it Coyote Pizza. Well, Bushnell received the mascot character and then realized it had a pink tail, and was in fact a rat. You can see how the original rat costume Bushnell received had a lot of fur and did in fact look like a coyote. So after this discovery, the restaurant was then going to be called Rick Rat's Pizza, featuring Ricky Rat, which you could say was a nod from Bushnell to Disney's Mickey Mouse. Ricky Rat, Mickey Mouse, both names have the same kind of flow, don't you think? Now, while the costume was in Bushnell's possession during the development stages of the restaurant, Ricky Rat became the unofficial mascot of Atari in the mid-70s. Well, in the end, the Ricky Rat name didn't end up actually panning out because it was deemed to not be kid-friendly. But we all know what name they ended up going with. And here, Bushnell describes why they chose the Chuck E. Cheese name.
Because we wanted the smile, Chuck E. Cheese. We wanted to smile. We wanted this name so that you couldn't say it without smiling.
And it's true. Right now, try saying Chuck E. Cheese without smiling.
You smile.
See? When you say cheese, it forces a smile, which is probably why we say cheese when we take pictures. Cheese. The 1980s.
I love that.
When the Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Time Theater restaurant first opened, Harold Goldbranson is the man responsible for making and designing the Chuck E. Cheese mascot. It was based on the original costume Bushnell purchased from the IAAPA Expo, and still had that long snout and those really large teeth. It looked like
Sorry about
like a rat, which you could say wasn't the most inviting look. So to soften up the rat's appearance, they gave him a red derby hat, a yellow undershirt, a paisley vest, and to top it all off, a bow tie. This look was used from the opening of the first Pizza Time Theater location in 1977 until around 1980. Now, in the early 80s, the company began to grow, and Pizza Time Theater was having trouble maintaining the consistency of Chuck's costume design due to material availability. So, in May of 1981, Chuck was given a new yellow and red diamond vest, which was actually silkscreen printed to ensure that every vest would be the exact same. Now, this commercial also features the articulated Chuck E. Cheese walk-around character that was able to blink his eyes and move his mouth.
Hang in there, Howie.
Now, through our research, it appears that the articulated Chuck E. Cheese character was only used for promotional commercials through the 1980s, and didn't regularly appear in the restaurants. Now, sometime in the early 80s, the Chuck walk-around character in the restaurant seemed to have received new face features, including red rosy cheeks and a red lower lip. Through the 80s, this seemed to have become the standard face look seen in the restaurants. But I gotta say, it looks a little cheap compared to the old design that was used before. Then sometime between 1983 to 1984, Chuck was given a plain red vest, which can be seen here in this commercial from 1984. Now, comparing the articulated character to the normal mascot in the restaurants, Chuck's commercial snout had much softer features and was less narrow than the character in the restaurants. This probably had something to do with the mechanism needed to make the mouth move. It seems that commercial Chuck is also the only time he appears with whiskers. But here at the restaurant in 1986, you can see just how long and pointy Chuck's snout really was. The mid-80s is also the time when Pizza Time Theater went bankrupt and was purchased by Showbiz Pizza Place. Although they remained independent restaurants for the first few years, there was some crossover between Chuck E. Cheese characters and the Showbiz Pizza Place characters. During this time, Chuck continued to sport the red vest and derby hat into the early 90s, when the company started to merge and brand all restaurants as Chuck E. Cheese's.
Where a kid can be a kid.
The 1990s. Around 1990, Chuck ditched the red vest and debuted his tuxedo look that included gold lapels and a red bow tie. They still kept the red derby hat, which now matched the red bow tie to go along with Chuck's new classy look. Now, it seems like this maybe could have been done as a response to better resemble Mickey Mouse. He also wears a tuxedo and has a bow tie, and has the same color palette of red, yellow, or gold, and black used for Tuxedo Chuck. This may have just been a coincidence, or maybe it wasn't. Tuxedo Chuck was only used for a couple years, and throughout this time, the company then realized that the character needed to be more hip. They placed him in a yellow shirt, but still kept that red derby hat, which came across as a really odd merge of two completely different looks. It's also safe to say that in the 90s, Chuck's face received a redesign and upgrade, giving the character much softer features, which you can see especially in his cheeks. He was given a wider cheek structure and smile, a softer, less pointy snout with elongated eyes and smaller ears. This new look actually better resembled the articulated animatronic character seen in the commercials from the 80s. Between 1994 to 1995, Chuck E. Cheese got a complete overhaul, Cool Chuck was the next version to appear in the 90s. The most notable differences of Cool Chuck was the company's decision to ditch the red derby hat in exchange for a baseball cap, and the loss of the character's tail. There were various colors of hats and styles of shirts used, but Cool Chuck, who is now seen on the company's logo, hung around for advertising purposes from 1994 until 1997. The Avenger era. Probably one of the most iconic changes made to Chuck E. Cheese was the look that was referred to as Avenger Chuck. Now, this look debuted in 1997, and the physicality of the character was the same as Cool Chuck, but this is where he received the purple and green hat, the purple shirt with the yellow C, and the green shorts. You can tell that the company was really trying to make him appear a lot cooler and relatable to the kids of the 90s, with the inclusion of the backwards snapback and the skater gloves. This look appeared in all the advertising beginning in 1997, but this time it was in the form of animation. It also appears that from the late 90s and on, the mascot characters were phased out of the commercials, with animation being the medium of choice for the character. Avenger Chuck was solely used for marketing purposes, while Cool Chuck was still seen as the walk-around character in the restaurants from the mid-90s until around 2001. Cool Chuck also remained in the company's logo until 2004, when the Avenger Chuck with the thumbs up took over. Avenger Chuck began making his appearances in the restaurant around 2001, and by 2004, the new look was completely rolled out in all the restaurants as walk-around characters. Now, although the company stopped using mascots in the commercials, there was one ad from around 2008 that included the Avenger walk-around Chuck E. Cheese. It also appears that in the mid to late 2000s, the company also tried implementing a toothless Chuck. Not too sure how many were produced or the magnitude of this change, but it sure seems like it was helping the company decide the direction they wanted to take the character in next. Present-day rock. Beginning in 2012, CEC Entertainment debuted the current look of Chuck E. Cheese, as response to the company's ongoing dip in sales. This more contemporary rockstar look was probably the most drastic change in Chuck's appearance ever. He pretty much looks like a completely different character. He received much larger ears, his eyes are now green and are spread out much further across his head, his nose is larger, the cheeks are much wider, and his teeth became smaller. He was also given a slimmer body frame along with jeans, a similar shirt to what Avenger Chuck wore, and he lost his hat. Honestly, the face proportions resemble a lot of the proportions of Mickey Mouse, which I'm sure had some impact on this design. With the implemented new design being such a drastic change, there was mixed response. Some restaurants even refused to use the updated Rockstar walk-around character, saying their Avenger walk-around characters are still in good shape and able to be used. Another notable change in Chuck E. Cheese's appearance is his scale. In the commercials from the 90s, the animated Chuck was the same height as the kids, but with the introduction of Rocker Chuck, his scale was brought down to the size of an actual rat. Over the course of 40 years, it's pretty fascinating to see the character's evolution going from a pointy-nosed rat to this friendlier Mickey Mouse type version. So what's your favorite version of Chuck over the years? And how do you feel about the complete redesign he received in 2012? Do you think he looks a lot more like Mickey Mouse? Leave a comment down below and start a conversation.
Okay, before I end this video, I'm gonna say this. My favorite is Avenger Chuck and Rockstar Chuck, because they're cool and they had the same shirts. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching this reaction, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a Chucky day.